All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this session on studying abroad as a transfer or reentry student. Before we jump into our presentation, I want to outline a few key elements for you. This session will be recorded. All participants are in listen-only mode. We invite you to use the Q&A feature throughout the session for any questions you have, and we'll address questions live at the end of this presentation. With that, let's get started. Okay. Ashley, would you mind sharing the next slide for us, please? So while we pull that up, I'd just like to welcome you to everyone who are attending this session on studying abroad as a transfer and reentry student. My name is Karen Lark, and I am a program coordinator with UC Davis Global Learning Hub. I'm also a transfer student who studied abroad. So today, my colleagues and I from the Global Learning Hub will be dispelling misconceptions about studying abroad as a transfer and reentry student, as well as talking about some key benefits on doing an abroad program. So we will share with you some examples of programs with UC Davis and UC EAP. And we want to show you that there are a wide variety of programs available to you that will fit in with most of your academic plans and your interests in particular. Lastly, we've invited a panel of transfer and reentry students to join us to talk about the process and tips on studying abroad. So let's get started. So first of all, studying abroad as a transfer and reentry student. There are some myths about studying abroad as a transfer or reentry student. First of all, you can study abroad your first year if you plan on a spring or summer program. If you want to hit the ground running, meet with your advisor and take a look at deadlines for enrollment to get started. You can also still totally graduate on time. There are a wide variety of programs available which allow you to earn UC credits towards your major, minor, or GE requirements. You can also study abroad in your senior year, and many students choose to study abroad as a senior or during the summer after graduating even. You can also participate in study abroad if you have a family. In addition to shorter term programs, there are also those which allow your family to join you on site while you participate in the program. Now I want to talk about some of the benefits of studying abroad. And these are just a few of many benefits of your experience abroad. So first of all, fulfill graduation requirements while abroad. As I said before, a variety of courses are available that will apply directly to your major, minor, or GE requirements. Next, improve intercultural communication and language skills. Always wanted to experience life in another country or brush up on your language skills? Programs range from being taught completely in English to full language immersion. Make lifelong personal and professional connections. With small class sizes and accessible instructor, it's easy to stay in touch with your study abroad friends and use your instructor for letters of recommendation post-program, not to mention the benefit of making local connections in your host country, which is a real benefit. Take advantage of learning through experience, internship, or research opportunities. Emphasis on active learning while studying on site and availability of internship options means you can delve deep into a subject or your future career field. Prepare for a career in an increasingly global market and enhance your resume or graduate school application. Employers are looking for well-rounded, globally aware employees. Stand apart with international experience on your resume or grad school application and prepare for an increasingly global job market. Finally, not least of all, financial aid and scholarships are available. Take advantage of scholarships and financial aid. Some programs will even have a lower cost of living than your home campus. Okay, so now that we've talked about some of the benefits of going abroad, Ashley is going to highlight some of the different programs available to you as a UC student.
Great, thanks, Karen. As Karen mentioned, my name is Ashley Arvanites. I'm also a study abroad program coordinator and advisor. at UC Davis, and I'm going to be talking about the variety of different options that are available for transfer and reentry students. And the examples that I'm going to give here are going to be from a variety of majors and interests, but the ones that I've listed are specifically from the UC Davis Global Learning Hub. These programs through UC Davis are open to all UC students, but I encourage you to look into the programs that are offered through your campus as well, as there may be additional opportunities and different types of programs. So let's start with the first picture on the top left. And this is a group of students who are interning in the summer in Buenos Aires. And these internship placements are customized based on your individual experiences, career goals, interests, and skills. And they're available at both small and large companies in a variety of engineering fields, including computer science, software engineering, IT, biomedical and biochemical engineering, and electrical engineering. The photo below that is of two students in Taipei, Taiwan on an excursion during their UC EAP program. So they're studying at National Taiwan University, which is Taiwan's top university and is a leading research center. So through a program like this, you'll have the opportunity to take classes in a wide range of subjects, including Chinese language, history, tropical agriculture, forestry, genetic engineering, international business, and other types of STEM research. If we go to the photo in the center, it's a couple of students who are participating in clinical rotations at a hospital in Oaxaca, Mexico, through a quarter-long internship program. This specialized program includes about 180 hours of clinical rotations and focuses on US-Mexico transnational health issues. So if we move over to the right, on top, we have a new opportunity for students to stay in the US and intern in Washington, DC during the summer. So students are going to have a chance to engage with policymakers during 30 to 35 hour per week internships while earning 8 units from UC Davis. And finally, if we go down to the bottom right, we have a group of students in France with the UC Davis instructor learning about winemaking. So the students are learning about the fermentation process, grape varietals, and wine history while visiting several winemaking regions in France. Again, this is just a sampling of the types of opportunities that are available to you, but I feel like these will do a good job of highlighting how these experiences are far more active and engaging than just sitting in a classroom learning about the topics here. Studying abroad is a great opportunity to engage with experts in your field and gain new perspectives on your subject matter. I'll take a little bit of a step back here and talk about the different program types that a lot of UC students go abroad with, and then touch on some of those enrollment and application timelines. So the first family of programs that I mentioned, one example from previously, was our UC EAP. So that's the University of California system-wide education abroad program. So it's open to any UC student, and these offer programs during the fall, spring, winter, as well as summer and year-long programs. And they are very diverse. There's over 300 different program options. So there's hopefully something out there for everyone. And so in terms of the timeline and planning, these programs are going to enroll, and students are having to apply for the program usually 9 to 12 months in advance. The reason behind this is that UC EAP is working with different universities. So there's a few more steps there. Just for that same reason, there are very different application requirements, eligibility requirements, as well as application timelines. But keep that in mind if you're thinking about UC EAP, 9 to 12 months in advance. The next sort of family of programs that a lot of UC students go abroad on are the campus-based faculty-led programs. So some of those other examples I provided previously, like the winemaking in France. So these ones, you're usually applying 2 to 3 quarters in advance. For UC Davis, most of our students are doing a summer abroad program, so the enrollment for those is opening in winter. So it's a little bit shorter of a timeline, so you have a little bit more time to do your research than with UC EAP because there's less steps involved. But again, these program deadlines are going to vary by campus as well as by program type. There are not only summer abroad programs, but we also offer some quarter abroad programs as well. And once again, that eligibility is going to vary by campus too. We do have a great resource for students at all UCs to see all of the UC summer abroad faculty-led programs that are available to them. So I've included the link below, ucsummerabroad.ucdavis.edu. So that's a great place to start if you're interested in seeing what kinds of faculty-led programs are available through the specific UC campuses. And finally, I'm going to talk about next steps. So what if you are interested in some of these programs? So the first thing to really do is to spend some time researching the programs and thinking about, what do you want to do? What kind of experience? Do you want to gain job experience? Do you want to study abroad in your major? Is there a particular region or country of the world you've always been fascinated by and want to have the opportunity to live and study there? And throughout that process, as you're considering your options, I encourage you really to tap into your support system. And that's going to include resources like the Transfer and Reentry Center, your study abroad or global learning advisors, your academic or major advisors, as well as the financial aid office. Of course, another important support system that you have is your family, friends, and loved ones. Make sure that they're involved in that process, and they can often provide really great insight and help you work through your considerations while you're selecting a program. And then finally, the next thing to look into is to take a look at the eligibility requirements, the application process and timeline, as well as to start looking into some scholarships and financial aid to see what your aid package might look like. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to introduce our study abroad returnees.
Thanks, Ashley. I'm Sarah Weems. I'm a study abroad coordinator and advisor at UC Davis. I too was a transfer student and studied abroad. So let's start off having our students introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. Let's start off with Anne-Marie and Angela. Can you tell us your major, year in school, year you graduated, and the program you attended for how long? And you guys can unmute yourselves and come on if you are able to now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm Anne-Marie. I was a media studies major at UC Berkeley. It was actually my second transfer college, so I had been to 2 other colleges before then. And I studied abroad in the summer of 2015 with the Oxford Portal of Fantasy.
Okay, great. Thanks. Angela, how about yourself?
Hi, my name is Angela. I'm a 4th year civil engineering student, and I studied abroad in Iceland. I studied thermodynamics. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. All right, so now we'll get into asking you guys some of our questions. First of all, I'm going to ask the both of you this question. Why don't we start off with Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie, how did you decide on your program, and what obstacles and challenges did you encounter?
I actually got a brochure in the mail, the big UC Summer Abroad pamphlet, and I, as a double transfer student, really didn't consider studying abroad. And my mom actually opened the program, saw Oxford, and saw Portal of Fantasy, and was like, "You have to go." And just that alone, I looked at other programs, but I was really familiar with the material already, and I had wanted to go to England, but I never had. So it was the perfect fit for me. I hadn't traveled alone internationally ever, so that was a little intimidating, but I actually met a lot of people even on my flight coming over. So we kind of, got together and supported each other through that. And I have to say, I did not set myself a budget for how much I was going to spend when I was there. And I think about 5 days in, I realized that was a big mistake. So I definitely had to then realize that I can't go out to eat for every single meal without thinking about it. So.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Angela, do you want me to repeat the question too, Angela?
I think I have a good grasp
of
it.
Cool.
But yeah, for me, I've always known I wanted to study abroad in college. Like that was like the one thing on my college bucket list. Like even as a freshman, I was like, I'm going to study abroad like one way or another while I'm here at UC Davis. And another priority of mine was to make sure I graduated on time. So I knew that I wanted a study abroad program that fit my major and my major schedule. So that's the study abroad program in Iceland actually helped me fulfill one of my requirements. So that was like a huge plus for me. And I could also relate to Anne-Marie, like not not setting a budget was also kind of a mistake because it is a little bit pricier there in Iceland.
Yeah.
But yeah, like another appeal about Iceland is I feel like it's kind of underrated as a study abroad like country. I don't know, that's kind of like what I've always thought. So yeah, yeah, that was my experience with it. It was really cool.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that too. Anne Marie is on. We get to see her now. Yay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Your reception came in better too. Everything's perfect now. Great. Why don't we start off with Angela on this next question? We'll have the both of you answer it too. So Angela, how has your experience impacted your future?
Yeah, so I mean, like Iceland itself is just like it's so different, like, and obviously because like their energy like resources are like 90, I don't even want to butcher the statistic, but it's like a majority of their energy resources are like from like natural resources. So like their energy grid is probably like, oh my gosh, like 98% all renewable natural resources. So like going into that kind of like region and understanding like what their practices are and like how they like incorporate engineering what like not curriculum but like yeah, essentially their practices and how they maintain like their like society and like it opened up my mind and perspective about like how different like regions are in terms of how they approach like problem resolution and how like they're able to maintain their like infrastructure and just like their society overall. And like being exposed to that, like I knew right away like I want to apply like my knowledge and my major like to in like a global respect. Like I know for sure like and once I go into my career, like I'm not gonna stay put in one place. Like I'm definitely gonna travel and like explore like different areas. And because I want to focus personally, my personal goal is to focus on like coastal resilience. So I want to focus on developing regions and particularly coastal communities and like yeah, that's where my goals are geared
So it
towards now. And
really impacted and changed you for the better. I mean, you see your
essentially,
future.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Anne Marie, do you want to answer that question too?
Yeah, I haven't traveled very much outside of the US, and it was just Oxford was established in the 900s or before. So it was wild just being at a place where, buildings had existed that I was sleeping in or eating food in that, you know, were built in the 1300s, or things that even felt extremely modern were built in the 1500s or 1700s. And it just really put kind of everything in perspective for me that so much has happened, and there's so many other places besides like the places I've already been that can just open up my mind to a whole new world.
And then even attending the Oxford Total Dependency Program, Anne Marie actually became an on-site coordinator for the program. So that definitely impacted you, right? Because then you
Yes.
actually became someone on the program helping coordinate the program.
Yes.
Cool, thank you. So unfortunately, we don't have Jennifer. She wasn't able to come on as a panelist. So I'm thinking that we'll just have the both of you go back and forth and answer the questions. So I'm going to go on to the next question. And I think I just had Angela answer the first one. So why don't we go back to you, Anne Marie? And this question is, what resources did you take advantage of? What advice would you give to other students?
I definitely, I guess this is kind of answering the question, both questions. I did not take advantage of really my major advisor and making sure that I came in with a lot of credits. And so I needed to make sure that I actually didn't hit my maximum number of credits. And I really wish I had met with a major advisor earlier on to make sure that I wasn't hitting my maximum. Later, I had to petition the dean to let me take more classes, essentially. So I also had to take advantage of the international health insurance plan that was provided through UC Summer Abroad. I think, you know, you never think you're going to get sick on study abroad, or, you know, that that's something you'll have to deal with. But I definitely did. And it was very nice knowing that UC Davis had my back when I was abroad.
Awesome. Okay. And Angela, what do you want to answer this one too?
Yeah, so for me, a big like factor that I had to consider was financial aid. Like 100%, that was like I applied to so many scholarships. I took advantage of the Gilman Scholarship, which I strongly recommend everyone does. Like it's a pretty, I don't want to say hefty application, but like if you start early, you can definitely like it's definitely manageable. But yeah, that scholarship was extremely helpful, and I took advantage of like external scholarships, like even ones that were like 1K or 2K, like even ones that don't seem like a lot of money, but it adds up. And by the end of it, I ended up getting 3 scholarships, including Gilman, and I had my trip covered. My flights were covered, like all my other expenses were covered. The only thing I had to worry about was like personal expenses, like when I got there, if I wanted to buy souvenirs or anything.
Yeah,
but
definitely important.
That was like a major resource I took advantage of for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, panelists. That's all the time we actually have right now. So we're not going to go into any more questions. What we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the next slide. And we're just going to show everyone the resources and the support centers that are available before we transition to the questions and answers. Yeah, so all the centers that are here, we've got both of them on 2 different slides. And I'll give you a few moments if you want to take a photo. But the presentations and slides will be made available to everybody. So I think that's the first. Is that the second one? And there is the second one. All right. Hopefully everyone was able to get. And this is yeah, Ashley, feel free to explain.
Yeah, I'll jump in really quickly. As soon as we finish the session, we did want to request that everyone complete this 3-question survey. It's just basically how helpful was this session for you. So if you're able, you can scan the QR code, and then my colleague Karen, I believe, is going to drop the link in the chat. So she'll drop that into the chat for you. But we also were going to highlight some upcoming sessions, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, and you can ask questions to any of the advisors here or the student panelists. And we also have a colleague from the Transfer and Reentry Center at UC Davis. So if you do have specific questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat, but we would really appreciate it if you would take the time to complete the survey before you leave the session.
Cool. So as Ashley just said, this is just a list of the upcoming sessions that are offered through the UC Davis Global Learning Showcase. For non-UC Davis students, your campus may have other sessions of interest. You can refer to the website listed here for all the sessions and times, as well as session recordings in the week following this event. We hope you'll take advantage of all these other sessions. And feel free to take a picture. So finally, thank you to our presenters and panelists for their time today, and to you all for your attendance. Now is the time for any questions you were not able to get in to us or for us. We have a representative from the UC Davis Transfer and Reentry Center, Roxanne, here to answer any questions as well. Again, thanks everybody.
All right, it looks like the first question, which either Sarah or Karen could ask, it says, will study abroad programs to other countries be available for next center? Obviously considering the uncertainty in the world and COVID-19. So if one of you could speak to that, that'd be great.
Oh, sorry.
Hello. So I just dropped the link if you weren't able to scan that QR to do the evaluation. And it is a great question. So are we planning to run study abroad next year? Through UC Davis, yes, we are planning starting in summer to run internships and summer abroad programs. And we also are planning our fall program through the quarter abroad program. So of course we are considering everything about the COVID-19 situation when we're planning these programs for next year. And so there is information on our website for UC Davis, and you'd want to go to the UC EAP website to find out more about their protocol for COVID-19. And we are planning to run those programs, but we want to make sure that if any programs aren't able to run for summer, that we give students enough time to plan ahead for alternative programs that they can do, or if they plan to take those courses or do an internship on campus. And for that reason, we are making a decision to run or to not run programs on March 3rd. So enrollment for our UC Davis programs opens January 6th, and then we're making a final decision on March 3rd. And we'll be doing that on a case-by-case basis for each program, since they're all over the world and each country is in a different situation. For all the programs we plan to run, we will be running them in the safest way possible with social distancing precautions similar to those that are going on campus and universities. And if you want to know more and stay up to date, we encourage you to create a profile so that you get updated information about our particular programs through UC Davis.
I'm going to add really quickly also, if you're interested in programs offered through your individual campus, each campus is handling the situation differently. So I encourage you to get in touch with the offices on your campus to determine what their plan is for summer 2021. All right, the next question is asking, when trying to determine what other programs we're participating in and how they will interact with study abroad, how do you have an advice for going about this?
I can take that question. So when you're trying to decide on what study abroad program you're interested in, a great way is to start with us, with our office. So depending on actually where you're studying, if it's UC Davis or Berkeley or UCI, UCLA, all our universities have study abroad offices that you can go to, and we have coordinators there that can help you decide on the program that fits for you, depending on whether you're interested in a specific country, or you have a specific major that you want to study in. We're there to support you and help you through it. Right now, most of us have Zoom calls that we're doing, like drop-in calls. For example, at UC Davis, we have drop-in calls Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from, I think it's 9 to 4 p.m. But most centers are open, so you can call and talk to them and do Zoom calls sort of like this. If you have any more questions, then I think that answered it.
I did want to also mention that we do have some upcoming sessions that you might be interested in that might address some of these questions. We do have one focusing on studying abroad in the time of COVID, and that's going to be on Wednesday at noon. So if you're interested, you can register through the Eventbrite page. We also have a Gilman Scholarship session on Wednesday from 2 to 3. And we also have other resources like studying abroad in your major and a variety of sessions that will help address some of the questions that have been coming in. So feel free to take a look at some of the other questions that we have. There is another question that came in, and it says, I'm sure every program is different, but how does housing work? Do the programs offer dorms, apartment? Do they come furnished, or do we do this on our own?
I guess I can answer that too. It really does depend on the program. I work on a variety of programs, 5 different programs, Oxford Portal to Fantasy, where Anne-Marie was, and those were in dorms at a university called Jesus College. Other places could be in hotels, depending on where you are in the world. So it really depends. I think Ashley actually was an on-site coordinator for a program, and where did you traveled and you stayed where again, Ashley?
Yeah, I was an on-site coordinator, and we had homestay opportunities for students. The program I was on, we were visiting remote communities all over Ecuador, and so we were camping in the middle of the Amazon, staying in dorms. There were a couple of nights where students were in hotels. So it really varies program by program. For our particular programs at UC Davis, we do have a section on our website that's called On-Site, and that will go over all the details of housing, whether it's a single room in a shared apartment, or as Sarah mentioned, if you're in dorms, if you're sharing rooms in doubles, hotels, what it's like. So it really does depend on the individual program. Let's see, there is another question that came in about scholarships, and the question was, are scholarships open now? And what's the timeline for applying for scholarships?
I can answer that question. So there are different timelines depending on what scholarship you're applying for. So we encourage you to look as early as possible into scholarship opportunities. I think Angela was mentioning that she started right away looking into scholarships and started applying for them. And so you do want to look into the different scholarships that are available. Our website for UC Davis, for Global Learning Hub, we do share a resource that is a scholarship funding search tool. So you can search through different opportunities for funding and different scholarships that may be available to you. And the deadlines will vary depending on that scholarship. So we encourage you to look into those early, and most scholarships will have deadlines posted or soon to be posted on the pages with the details for those scholarships. The one that we were talking about earlier, which is the Gilman Scholarship, that is, let's see, that has 2 different deadlines depending on what time of year program you're applying for, whether it's summer or later in the year. And you want to look into that, and also look at our website if you are applying for that scholarship, because we hold workshops on how to apply for those for the Gilman Scholarship, and workshops on writing your essay, and we support students through that process of applying for the Gilman Scholarship. So please do look at our website for those resources, and look into the Gilman specific website for more information about deadlines. I'm going to go ahead and drop the search tool for the funding and scholarships, and you can check that out and see what's available for you.
And then just to add, we'll also have a showcase. I think we have it on the last slide that talks about, I don't know if you want to show that, Ashley, if you can go back. So let's see, where is it? Financial aid for study abroad. It is on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. to 11:30. So that might be helpful too for anyone that's interested. The Gilman Scholarship for Studying or Interning Abroad is that same day from 2 to 3. So that might be helpful.
Perfect. That segues, I think, into our last question, which was also asking about financial aid and whether they use the 2020 or 2021 FAFSA for the programs. And so I would recommend that you get into contact with a financial aid advisor. And the best way that you could do that is, once you've established which program you plan to attend, you can bring the total estimated cost of participating in the program, which should be made available to you on the program websites. For our programs, those are usually, for summer, those are available starting at the end of November. And so you take that entire program cost page, not only the program fees that you would pay to our office, but also the estimated total cost of participating. So anything that's not included, like an airfare, how much does it cost for a new passport? Those things are included, so that when they're looking at what your aid package looks like, they have the full picture of what the estimated total cost of participating is. It looks like there's one final question that just came in. It says, I see a summer abroad internship. UC Davis will be interested. The info session is TBA. When might that be? Karen or Sarah want to answer that? I can also answer it too.
Yeah, it doesn't, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead and answer
Yeah.
that. If you do see a program that you're interested in, we recommend that you create an interest profile. So through our website, that will allow you to check any programs that you're interested in, and that basically adds you to the mailing list. So we can let you know once info sessions have been scheduled. We'll also let you know about scholarship applications, enrollment deadlines, things that are coming up for the particular program. You can also reach out to the program coordinator for a specific program, which is listed on the overview page of our website. And so they could also let you know if one has been scheduled, but I think the easiest way is to create an interest profile. All right, and I think we're a little bit over time, so I think we will go ahead and call it. I'll leave it up to Karen or Sarah if they want to have any closing remarks.
Also, I don't know if Roxanne, if you want to add in anything as well. We did have her here as a resource, so if you, or just say hi. Oops, you're muted.
Forgot to mute.
I paid for you.
Yeah. I'm Roxanne Grijalva with the Transfer and Reentry Center. So really encourage you to make the best out of your 2, maybe 3 years at the UC while you're here. I know that it's rather quick, but any opportunities that you're interested in, please take advantage of and make your experience enriching. So if you ever want to schedule an appointment with me, you can do that via Zoom. So I do have Zoom appointments available. You can go to our website to learn how to schedule an appointment with me. If you haven't connected with us, I'd love to meet you. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks so much, Roxanne.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks to our panelists for sharing their experiences as well.